Hello, everyone. My name is Abby, and I am here today to take you through this masterclass, Unlock the Secrets of Your Big Three. I am an astrologer, and I can't wait to dive into this free training with you. It's all about exploring your astrological profile to gain clarity and feel empowered. So let's jump in. So, this masterclass is all about discovering the secrets of your big three to really deepen your knowledge, connect with the energy of your big three, and take action towards the person who you truly want to be. What a wonderful thing to be doing. So, I want to first welcome you here and say thank you for joining me for this training, for showing up and actually making a commitment to yourself to go through this training. I really honor that because I know that there are so many people that won't show up. They'll sign up for this free masterclass, but they won't take the time to go through and actually watch the training and implement the steps that I am recommending in this training session. So I'm really honoring you for showing up and doing that with me here today. So, you're in the right place if you want to understand how you can use astrology in a way that supports your growth. You're in the right place if you want to understand how to develop your strengths and how to learn to work with the challenges that you have in your life through the lens of astrology. You're in the right place if you want to understand how you can live in alignment with the best version of you. And you're in the right place if you want to understand how to consciously and practically work with your natural astrological energies. You're in the right place if you want to understand how to find personalized strategies to grow and feel more empowered in your life. All right, so I want you to stay until the end because I am launching my astrology course, Starlit, and it comes with a number of bonuses, which I'll explain at the end of this training. But before we jump in, I want to tell you a little bit more about me. My name is Abby, and I'm a Leo sun. I'm an Aquarius moon and a Capricorn rising. So that Leo sun and Aquarius moon means I was born on a full moon. In human design, I am a 1-3 generator, and the 1-3 profile, they normally like to dive deep and really explore a topic in depth before they put anything out into the world. I'm currently living in Perth and I am a part-time tour guide. I've been tour guiding in Central Australia on the Larapinta Trail, and now I'm guiding on Rottnest Island in Perth, Western Australia. When I'm not house sitting out here, I am living in my van and traveling around and love exploring. All right, some things about me. I grew up as a successful athlete and I quit it all. I quit everything, including my job, to head off into the world and travel. And this was around my Saturn return, and I can touch on that a little later on. I returned home in 2014, where I attempted another adventurous feat to paddle across Bass Strait in a sea kayak. And, Bass Strait is a pretty treacherous part of the ocean. I also studied life coaching, and it wasn't until 2019 that I read a book called The Artist's Way, and it really led me back to astrology. This book is all about discovering and uncovering things that you love to do as a child, and it was an incredible way to lead me back to something that I am so passionate about. So, I want to talk about some of the not so glamorous things about me. Because I think it's all well and good to share some of the highlights of my life, but I should also be sharing some of the lowlights. So, when I was 21, I survived a high-speed car accident. We were going at 100 kilometers an hour and we had a crash with another car that was going at the same speed. It was a pretty horrific time. In 2020, I lost one of my best friends to a hiking misadventure. And at the peak of my athletic career, I underwent a major injury. I ruptured my Achilles tendon. I've also spent a lot of time on my own, and some of that has been great, but sometimes it's been really lonely and it's been really challenging. And I've also suffered through several bouts of depression. But the thing is that I know that things change when I take radical responsibility for my life. Things change when I'm doing the things that I love and when I follow my intuition. Things changed when I started to understand my astrology and when I started to practically and intentionally work with my astrology in my life. And that's what I want for you as well. So I've had a fascination in astrology, with astrology, since I was a kid. And it was in 2019 that I really rekindled that spirit. And since then, I have not stopped studying, I have not stopped reading charts. And now I teach astrology and I read charts for other people and do consultations and teaching astrology like these types of classes. So let's jump into this masterclass. The first part I want to talk about is really knowing what your big three is, because social media can really impact the way that we learn. And there is a lot of astrology over social media. So let's take you into a deep dive of really knowing your big three so you can get a deeper understanding of what it is and what it really means for you. Before we start all of this, though, I really want to say that before we can dive into astrology or any other learning tool for any form of personal growth, it is imperative that you and we and us and we all have a really deep connection with our intuition, because the intuition is your internal guidance system. It's your inner voice, and this must come first. And the reason that I say that is because astrology, along with many other practices, are open to interpretation. There are so many ways that you can interpret any one thing in astrology, and people will interpret it in different ways. And when I teach and I share, I'm offering you my interpretation. And if that resonates with you, that is great. But if it doesn't, and your intuition says that's not quite right for me, you must trust that first. So if I say something, or if anyone else says something and it isn't landing for you, if it doesn't feel right, you must trust your own inner knowing. Trust your intuition first. This is the most powerful tool we have. And if you don't have a connection with that, that is something that you want to develop first and foremost. Okay, the sun, moon, and rising signs. These are energies that have the most influence in our personality when it comes to astrology. Here's a picture of my chart, and I'm going to break this down a little bit more as we go through this training. Here's a little analogy that I like to use when referring to the big three, and it's when you first meet someone. So, when you first meet someone, you can understand the big three energies. The first time you see them, you'll see the qualities of their rising sign. It's the characteristics of that person that will greet you. When you get to know that person better as a friend, you'll start to see the qualities of their sun sign. And it's not until you truly, deeply, and intimately know that person, and that may never be the case with a lot of people, that you will see the energies of their moon sign, because the moon sign represents their inner world. And I'll get into that in a little bit more detail. So let's jump in. The sun sign. What is the sun sign? What does it represent? Well, the sun sign is where we shine. It's our true spirit. And I always tap my heart region when I talk about the sun sign, because I believe it is who you are at your core being, who you truly are, who you truly have come to be here in this lifetime. The sun sign is where you shine. It's where you can illuminate the world. And these qualities are your superpowers, the zodiac sign characteristics and the house placement. The sun sign is also connected to our ego and somewhat our identity. And a lot of you, you probably all know your sun sign. It's based on the birthday that we have, our birthday. So the moon sign, the moon is our inner world. If the sun is our true spirit, who we are, who we came here to be, then our moon sign is our inner world. It's our relationship with the self, I say. It's that relationship that you have in your head with yourself. And it's what others may not see unless they're very close to you, unless they have a very intimate relationship. The moon represents our moods and emotions. Now, we all know that the moon has influence on the waters, the bodies of waters on Earth. It pulls the tide and it changes this energy and moves the tide with the waxing and waning with the moon. And so it's no different with our bodies. We're made up of 75 to 80% water. And so the moon can pull on our moods and emotions. The thing about the moon is that it's constantly changing. It's constantly growing in light, diminishing in light, changing signs, as are our moods and emotions. The moon is also all about how we show up when we are children because we do not really understand how to regulate these emotions. So have a think about when you were a child, perhaps before the age of 7, and have a think about what your moon sign might have represented when you were a child. And we'll get onto the signs in a little minute. So the moon reflects the light of the sun. It has no light of its own. So essentially, our inner world is being reflected by our true spirit. This is the first way that, the first way that I like to identify these energies working together. Our moon sign is reflecting our sun sign. All right, the rising sign. The rising sign is how we show up. It's the energy and the gifts that we rise with. And sometimes these are so known within us, they're actually innate, and we might not actually recognize them within ourselves because we just think that it's normal and natural. The rising sign is how we show up in the world. It's how others will see us, that face, that front that we put out into the world. The rising sign is also connected with our body, our style, our identity, and our health. And these are important things that we can look at in the rising sign if we're looking at those areas of our lives. We need to know our birth time to know our rising sign. And one more thing I'll say about the rising sign, it is not a planet, it's not a body in the sky. It is a point in space. It is the point that was on the eastern horizon when you were born. So if the sun was at 12 noon directly above, whatever was on the eastern horizon is the sign that was rising. This is your rising sign. All right, so now I'm going to show you how to calculate your chart. So these are the steps to calculate your birth star chart. You can go to a website called astroseek.com. Here it is here, astroseek.com. I'm going to step you through it. Let's see what we can find here. So wait for this to load and show you how you can go about this. Essentially, we go up here, free horoscopes. Then we go to birth natal chart calculator. We click on that one. My internet's being a little bit slow. Then we come down and we pop in our details here. I'll just give you an example with my birth details. I'll pop them in here and I'll show you, make sure you've got the right time, afternoon or morning. So here we go. Put in the details here. You want to know where you were born. And I want you to go to this extended settings here. You want to change this house system. So it says whole sign house system and deselect some of these things here. We'll leave Chiron and the lunar nodes because that can be interesting to know. Then click calculate your chart. And in a matter of minutes, here is your chart, all right? It looks a little bit different to the one that I have here on my screen, but that's okay. So that is how you calculate your chart. All right, let's move on. Maybe you don't know your birth time. There are many ways to find an accurate birth time. Now, the first place to start is obviously to ask your parents and even some close relatives. Maybe you have aunties and uncles, or maybe you even have connections with your parents' friends. You can also ask older siblings if they remember any details of the day that you were born. Perhaps they remember going to a babysitter or being looked after or being woken up early if they had to go somewhere. You can check any baby book records if you have them, if they've been kept, or you can try and contact the hospital. Sometimes this is, you'll find that they do not keep records, but many people have had success with this. The final stop would be a chart rectification. You can contact an astrologer and they can look at the series of events in your life and they can pretty much get an accurate birth time for you. But I would recommend if you truly don't, if you've exhausted all these options and you truly don't know your birth time, you can use kinesiology muscle testing where you're asking a yes/no question. You're trying to link your fingers here, keep them together whilst pulling them apart. All right. First, you want to ask a yes/no question. Then you want to test the muscle testing. And then you want to ask questions like, was I born before noon? Was I born within this time window? You need to ask yes/no questions. Usually the yes will stay a strong link and the no will break apart. And, then you will get it down. You can also use a pendulum. Let me show you. A pendulum is essentially working in a very same way. First of all, you need to tune the pendulum. It asks you to show it a yes, ask you to show it a no, and then you can use the same method. Ultimately, the body knows the birth. It was your birth, right? If your conscious mind doesn't know, I believe the body does. It was your body's birth. It has to know. It has to be in there somewhere. All right, so then you're going to get a chart that looks like this. And I just want to break it down. We're really only going to look at the sun, moon, and rising signs here today. So the sun you'll see is this circle with a dot in it. You can see here in the chart, my sun is over in this location in Leo. We also have the moon. That one's pretty obvious. There's my moon sign down in Aquarius. Then you have the rising or the ascendant sign, and this is represented with an AS, or it might also say AC. You can see that it's always going to be over in this left-hand section of the chart in what is called the first house. So there's a little key to understanding. All right, now I'm going to show you and tell you and share with you how you can connect with your big three energies. So I'm going to be talking a lot about polarities. I use language like light and shade, yin and yang, positive and negative, masculine and feminine. And please know that some qualities that I talk about, they may sit in both of these sides of the spectrum. They may just sit on one end of the spectrum, they may sit on both. And it really is different for everyone. I'll give you an example. When I talk about loyalty, which I would attribute to being a Leo quality, we can see that loyalty could be a really positive trait. It's a good thing to have in certain circumstances. But sometimes loyalty might be at the detriment of you if you're being overly loyal, too loyal, but you're not serving yourself, you're serving someone else, and therefore this might be coming across in a detrimental way. So I hope that makes sense. So you may see a quality that is connected to one of your signs or a characteristic that I'm going to talk about as I go through the zodiac signs, and it might not resonate with you. And that's okay, right? You might have mastered this quality. You might not have ever had it in your life. You might have moved past it. And yeah, it might not be something that you hold in your energetic signature. Remember, this is just my interpretation. So when we go through these zodiac signs, I want you to think about what sign it is that we're talking about. You've figured out your chart, you've worked out which is your sun, moon, and rising, what signs they're in. So when we're talking about the zodiac signs, I want you to think about which is it applying to? Is it applying to your sun sign? Is this the energy of your true spirit? Is it your moon sign? Is this the energy of your inner world? Or is this the rising sign? Is this the energy of how you show up? So think about that as we move through the zodiac signs. All right, let's start with Aries. So I'm going to be covering off some of the light and shadow energies of the signs. Aries is the first sign of the zodiac. It's a fire sign. It's likened to a spark of a match. It's cardinal energy. It's starting energy. It is a very ambitious sign. The positive qualities, I say, it's very initiating, it's action orientated, wants to go out and do. It can be very pioneering. It can be motivated, very direct and courageous, and it can have the attitude of ready, fire, aim, or start before you're ready. Perhaps some of the negative or shadow qualities might be that it's hot-headed, self-focused, although that could be a positive quality. It might be impulsive or urgent or impatient or argumentative. This is Aries. Next up, we have Taurus. Taurus is a fixed earth sign. So its mode is fixed and its energetic signature or its element is earth. All right. So Taurus is like a rock that is grounded, and its light and positive energies, I would say, is it that it's trusting, grounded, very sensual, connected to the senses, essentially. It's reliable, it's practical, and it's patient. Perhaps some of the negative qualities are that it's stubborn, materialistic, possessive, lazy, or overindulgent, and maybe even rigid. Next, we have Gemini. Gemini is a mutable air sign. So, mutable meaning that its attention, its energy can be here, there, and everywhere. It can be multitasking, and its element is air, which is connected to the intellectual side of things, very communicative, very much involved in thought. All right. So the positive qualities of a Gemini are playful, adaptable, communicative, social. They're very curious. They might have lots of ideas, and they're intelligent, and many more as well. This is just a snapshot, a summary of what I would like to share with you today. Perhaps some of the negative energies of Gemini is that it can be flighty, it can be scattered because of that mutable energy. Things might be inconsistent. It could be dualistic. It could have, two-faced is another word we could use. Could be very anxious because they're often up in their head with lots of thoughts going on, and could be engaging in gossip. Next up, we have Cancer. Cancer the crab. Cancer is a cardinal water sign, all right? So cardinal is that starting energy, similar to Aries, and the water element connects to the emotion. Think of the crab. It's got a hard shell, protective outer layer, but it's soft and gooey on the inside, all right? And it's also got some pincers, so it might lash out in defense. The positive qualities to Cancer, I often liken it to that mother energy. It's very nurturing, it's kind, protective, very loyal, compassionate, and very intuitive. In shadow, it could show up as moody, clingy, overprotective, defensive, insecure, and even manipulative. Next up, we have Leo. Leo is the fifth sign, it's the lion, and it's a fixed fire sign, all right? So the positive qualities of Leo is they're very warm, they're kind-hearted, they're playful, they're loyal, courageous, charismatic, ambitious. They want to be out on that stage, all right? But in shadow, they might show up as vain or jealous or arrogant or dominating, attention seeking or extravagant. Self-worth is often also attributed to Leo, and this could come through in a positive or negative way. Then we have Virgo. Virgo is the mutable earth energy, and its symbol is the Virgin, all right? So the positive energy of Virgo is that it's organized. It pays attention to detail. It can be very modest, analytical, pure, helpful. Virgo energy wants to serve and wants to help other people. In shadow, it might show up as a perfectionist or critical or picky, nitpicking, overthinking, obsessive, or over controlling. All right, that is Virgo. All right, next up we have Libra. We're halfway through. So Libra is the cardinal air sign. So it's that starting energy again and the intellectual energy of air. In its light energy, it is wants to create harmony. Libra is the scales, if we know the symbol. So it wants to create harmony or find balance. Might not always have that for itself. It can be very sociable. It's very relational sign. Libra is graceful, it's diplomatic, it's fair and charismatic. In shadow, it may show up as indecisiveness, a people pleaser, insincere, superficial, dependent, or even passive aggressive. Next up, we have Scorpio. I must say that Scorpio sometimes gets a bad rap, perhaps one of the most revered signs of the zodiac that gets this, including Gemini as well. Scorpio is the fixed water sign, all right? So it is the scorpion, the symbol of the scorpion, and it can be intense in a good way or maybe even a shadow way. Scorpio energy is passionate, it's very deep and wants depth and understanding. It's transformative, mysterious, and very resilient. In shadow, it could be obsessive, controlling, jealous, maybe secretive or vengeful, or even volatile. And they might even have a bit of a sting. Next up, we have Sagittarius. This is the archer that fires its aim out into the world, fires its arrow out looking for an adventure. So that is the symbol of Sagittarius. It is the mutable fire sign. Think of a wildfire. In light, it is optimistic, adventurous, it's fun-loving, often the life of the party, enthusiastic, very honest, and philosophical. Philosophical, I can't even say that word. But Sagittarius is often the most loved sign of the zodiac. But there are some shadow qualities. With anything, I always say there is light and shade. So these shadow qualities might show up as being the know-it-all, being reckless, being judgy or judgmental, being restless, irresponsible, and tactless. Next up, we have Capricorn. This is cardinal earth, all right? In positive, Capricorn is the energy of the sea goat, the mythical sea goat. It can swim to the depths of the ocean and climb to the tallest peaks of the mountains. So in positive, it's very determined, it's hardworking, disciplined, responsible, orientated towards its goals and wants to accomplish them. It's a very practical sign, being an earth energy, but in its negative energies, it can be pessimistic. It can be cold or very, like ice queen, I suppose, rigid, overly serious, too calculating, and even a little bit detached. All right, we're getting there. Next up, we have Aquarius. Aquarius, I liken to its fixed air, and I liken this to the outer layers of the stratosphere, where the air is circulating and governing and protecting our planet. Its symbol is the water bearer, which wants to serve other people, essentially. So its positive qualities is that it's intellectual, it's a futurist and very inventive. A lot of the inventors have Aquarius energy in their chart. It can be a humanitarian or innovative, very objective and socially conscious. In shadow, it can be detached, especially emotionally detached. It can be rebellious, which also could be a positive sign. It could be aloof, unpredictable, or seem superior than the people around it. And it's also eccentric, which could also be a positive, right? And then the last of the zodiac signs is Pisces, and this is the mutable water sign. Pisces is the fish in the ocean. It's the two fish that are swimming in different directions, all right? So in its positive element, it's creative, it's dreamy, it's compassionate, connected to spirituality, very artistic, and very intuitive. Pisces, I liken, it's the last sign of the zodiac. So I often say it's done with life on earth here and it's reaching and wanting more. All right. In shadow, it might be an escapist, it might be overly trusting, could be elusive, it could engage in self-pity, be disillusioned, and maybe even avoidant. So there we have the 12 zodiac signs. But how do we actually connect to the energies of these when they are related to our big three? How do your big three relate to one another? The best way for me to talk about this is to give you some examples. But I want you to think about what qualities do you like and how can you access them more? Of the qualities that you know you have that come from your sign, how can you access these more? And what qualities would you like to move away from? All right. Maybe there's some shadow qualities that you would like to move away from. How do these energies work together? How do they work in sync with one another? So here are my examples, and I'll start off with one from me. So I have a Leo sun and an Aquarius moon. This means I was born on a full moon. But here is an example. My quirky, detached inner world, which is my Aquarius moon, fully reflects my bold, courageous spirit, which is my Leo sun. And then we can add on another layer when we think about my Capricorn rising sign. So I show up with discipline, professionalism, perhaps even, and aspiring to my goals, which is my rising sign. But it's not easy for people to see my quirky, detached inner world that reflects my which is my moon sign, and that reflects my courageous spirit, which is my sun sign. And the reason is because those energies don't really align with one another. The Leo and the Aquarius energies are both fixed, but the Capricorn rising sits out a little bit differently, and it doesn't really see the energies of my sun or Aquarius moon. Here's an example if you have a Libra rising and Libra sun. This is when I say the rising sign and the sun sign are in the same zodiac sign. You might be able to show up as who you actually are from the get-go. So I have a charismatic and social spirit, and people see this from the moment that we meet because that rising sign is the same as the sun sign. So what you see, what you're presenting to the world is your true spirit. All right, some more examples that I wanted to give you in terms of the full moon, because these are the signs that sit opposite one another. If you want to know if you're born on a full moon, you might have the sun in Aries and the moon in Libra, or vice versa. Taurus, Scorpio, they sit on this opposite axis to one another. Gemini, Sagittarius, Cancer, Capricorn, Leo, Aquarius, like I was just mentioning, and Virgo, Pisces. So there's some examples of the full moon energy. I want you to be really honest with yourself so that you can get the most out of this training. What are the qualities that are holding you back in your life? What qualities can you see or identify that are preventing you from getting what you want? And how can you use the positive qualities that you know you have to overcome this energy or this characteristic? Perhaps you are very disciplined and you can use that to overcome your shyness. I would often say that that is two Capricorns types of energies. So if you have Capricorn in your chart, you could use this example. Some more examples. You could be very jealous or in your inner world, in your mind, in your relationship with yourself, a Scorpio moon. But your warm spirit can learn to dissolve this quality by focus on what you're passionate about if you have a Leo sun. Don't worry too much about the signs, but I just want you to start practicing and thinking about how this might show up for you. People might think you are moody if you're a Cancer rising, but you could use your fun-loving inner world to share a little more about yourself if you had a Sag moon or even a Sagittarius sun. People might think you're impatient if you're an Aries rising, but you can use your graceful and charismatic truth to overcome this with a Leo sun. Or there might be other qualities that you can use it from different signs that you have. So the truth is that we have all of the signs in our chart somewhere, right? So we have all of these qualities and characteristics within us somewhere. It's just that some will be stronger and more evident than others. So if you can see this chart of mine, you'll see that I have every single sign somewhere on my chart. It's just that some have energies of the planets and placements in them, whilst others don't. So we have all of the energies. It's just that some are highlighted more so than others. All right, let's take action with your big three energies. Well, why would you want to take action in the first place? The first reason is that you might want to change something that's holding you back. You might want to change behaviors or characteristics that you don't like about yourself. And you might want to break a cycle or a habit or a pattern that you have that is holding you back, preventing you from doing what you want to do. You might take action so that you can move from where you are to where you want to be in your life. So if we're going to take action, we're going to change. We want to change. So the steps of change include these. First is awareness. We have been able to gain a little bit of awareness by looking at some of the characteristics of our signs and our zodiac signs and our placements through the lens of astrology. So we have started to understand the big three energies. Then we have to have desire. What outcome do we want? We have to have knowledge. What can I do to change this? Then we need to take action, the steps that you are going to take to change it. And then we need to persevere. We need to stay the course because you can't just take action once and expect to change. All right, so first off, awareness. So we have brought some attention to our energies, our big three energies, especially astrologically, from this process as we have worked through the first two modules of understanding, knowing your big three, and connecting with your big three. The second step to change is having the desire. Why do you want to change? What outcome do you want that is different and that you don't have already, and why? The why is such an important piece because this will keep you anchored in to wanting to really fundamentally change and keep showing up and persevering towards your goal. And then we want to have knowledge. So, what qualities, what light energies and strengths do we have that can help us? All right. What are our superpowers that can help us change what we don't want? And then we need to take action. And how are you going to take action? Mostly, this is going to be potentially through a thought that arises. All right. And you're thinking a certain thought, you're thinking a certain way about yourself. It might be when you feel a certain way that you go and do a certain behavior. But instead, you might have to break that thought pattern and do something else. So you'll take action because you might feel a certain way, you might think a certain thing, or you might go to do a behavior. And instead, you want to have a think about what strength you'll draw on. What qualities or characteristics will help you make that move to where you want to be? What signature energy will you use to change a pattern that is no longer serving you? So, this is where I need you to get your pen and paper out, and I want you to write down your intention. Write down an example of what you see in yourself in your astrological energies. Here's some examples. When things feel too rigid, Capricorn, I draw on my playfulness, Leo. When I notice myself being critical of myself, Virgo, I connect with my pure essence and my grace, Virgo. Some more. When I don't feel worthy, Leo, I trust and know, Taurus, that my worth is innate. When I see myself trying to people please, Libra, I defend, Cancer, myself, and focus on standing up for myself instead, which might be a Leo or an Aries quality. All right. So I want you to write this down. You might just start with one, start simple. All right. But you want to start interrupting the thoughts because it is not easy. Let me tell you that. Interrupting and picking up thoughts can be difficult. Thoughts are created by neural pathways. I'm going to tell you a bit of analogy about how thoughts are created. Essentially, we think a thought over and over and over again, and it becomes a very strong pathway, so much so that we don't really have to think it consciously anymore. It's like a highway. Think of a highway with cars rushing down this highway. It's a very well-formed path. These are the highways or the neural pathways that we are creating in our mind. If we want to create a new one, we have to start somewhere. And this might look like turning off into the highway into a bush that there is no track or there's nothing cleared. And we have to start thinking that and move into that bush and create a trail. We have to create a new pathway, all right? So it's like going back. We have to think that thought many times over until that becomes the new highway. We have to walk that path, so to speak, until it becomes well trekked out and that we actually can go down that easily and clearly. And then the highway, the old thought, might become overgrown. All right. So I want you to have compassion because you're not going to catch these thoughts every time. You're going to have to start seeing things differently, and we need to persevere so that we can reprogram what it is that we want to change. Reprogram those thoughts and keep trudging down that new pathway until it's clear and it becomes automatic for us. All right, I want to give you a little bit of a recap on what we've talked about. Take action with your big three. Bring awareness to what it is that you want to change. Know why you want to change that. Set the intentions and use the energies, the positive, strong, light energies that you have to assist. take action, and then persevere. It's really important that you write those intentions down. You might stick it somewhere in a place that you see every day. You might journal over it. You need to bring it to the forefront of your mind, to your conscious awareness, so you can start to change. All right. I want to take you on a journey because I know you signed up for this masterclass because you are curious about astrology. So I want you to close your eyes and imagine what it would be like if you had a tool that you could refer to help you with your life, that you really knew so well and you understood this tool and this language, and it represented exactly who you are and how everything plays out for you. Think about having a tool that you can go to at any time to gain a deeper understanding of something that you might be working through, something that might be challenging you from an internal thought growth perspective. Imagine having that. All right, you can open your eyes now. So, when I started learning my astrology, I started to unlock a new level of understanding when it comes to how I communicate, all right? This was shown in my natal chart. I understood why romantic relationships had always proven challenging, and I saw the answers as to how I could rectify that and how I could start making steps to become less challenging in when it comes to romantic relationships. It confirmed to me why I was so competitive in my life and why this had come really naturally to me, this ability to train and show up and be a competitive athlete. When I started learning my astrology, I really unlocked clues around what areas I struggle with and how I could move past those struggles and challenges. Let's go on another journey. So I want you to close your eyes and fast forward 1 year. Maybe you haven't acted on these steps that I've been talking about, and nothing has changed in your life. Well, one thing I know for sure is if we don't take inspired action when it's there for the taking, the more time passes, the less likely and the harder it is to take action and step into the life we desire for ourselves. I want you to think about why you signed up for this masterclass. You wanted to understand how you can use astrology to deepen your self-empowerment journey. You wanted to learn a little bit more about your big three energies. You wanted to learn about the sun, moon, and rising sign. You wanted to learn about your astrological profile, and you wanted to learn more about yourself. You wanted to change. You felt called to understand astrology at a deeper level, and you are on a self-empowerment journey, but you're not quite where you want to be yet. So here are the options for you. You can continue doing what you are doing and can continue getting the results that you are getting. Or option two, you can choose to follow these steps that I've talked about today and actually use this ancient wisdom of astrology to deepen your relationship with yourself, to overcome your challenges and move from where you are to where you want to be. So let's recap these 3 steps. In the first part of this masterclass, I talked about the sun, moon, and rising energies. I did an introduction to the zodiac, and we talked about how to calculate your chart. I talked about the light and the shadow energies of your zodiac signs. And then I talked about how taking action from an inspired space of understanding your astrological energies. I want to introduce to you my course, Starlit. This is a 6-week astrology course that really grows and expands on this masterclass, where I teach you the language of astrology and how to apply astrology in your life to get from where you are to where you want to be. Over this 6 weeks, I'll teach you the foundations of astrology. I'll break down the complex language into simple, easy to understand concepts so that you can apply them to your life and own these incredible gifts. So this course, Starlit, it's right for you if you want to learn astrology in a way that fuels your growth, your personal growth. If you want to learn astrology to develop your strengths and effectively navigate your challenges. And if you want to use astrological insights to bridge the gap between where you are now and where you want to be. This is right for you if you want to understand your true nature and align with the best version of yourself. experience a profound sense of self-empowerment through your unique personality, and really embrace your radiance and confidently show up as the most authentic version of yourself. What are you going to learn in this course? All right, I'm going to take you through what I'll be teaching in the 6 weeks and the 6 modules of this course. We start off with personal and astrological foundations. So we'll begin by exploring your current reality and envisaging a higher self. What is your higher self? What do you ultimately want? So together we'll uncover your dreams and desires and gain clarity on where you are right now, but also where you want to go. And I'll introduce the basics of astrology. In module 2, we'll navigate your personality through the lens of astrology. So we'll dive deeply into the zodiac signs and how they relate to different personalities within you. You'll explore the house system. I'll guide you through casting a natal chart to really uncover deeper insights to your personality traits and patterns that you might have or energies that shape your experiences and your personal growth. In module 3, we'll dive even deeper into understanding your signature energies, your big three. I'll break down these key elements of your natal chart and we'll explore their significance and where they show up in your life. What areas of your life are these strong? You'll learn how to use them to better understand yourself and your life path. In module 4, this is where we learn about relating, receiving, and giving based on your personal planets. So there'll be some key personal characteristics about how you relate with others, how you receive energy, and how you give energy. And this is derived from the personal planets of Mercury, Venus, and Mars. Module 5 is all about how you grow, how you evolve, and how you learn, and your generation. So it's all about understanding the outer planets. So as we move out to the social and generational planets, they can teach us how we grow, how we learn, what things might be hard in our life, how we evolve, and what our generation is bringing up in this lifetime. And finally, module 6 is all about integrating this energy and this understanding and really embracing your journey. So we'll reflect on your personal growth and the transformation that you've experienced so far, and we'll solidify your understanding of any unique astrology, your personal blueprint and how it shapes your journey. So together we'll create an action plan so you can continue to thrive and evolve as it aligns with your higher self energy. What are you going to receive when you sign up for this course? You'll get 6 modules where I'll be teaching you astrology and personal growth strategies. I include guidebooks and supporting modules and a community to support and grow with. Plus, I've added some extra empowerment tools just to make it extra juicy for you. Astrology is a complex language, so I've included a bunch of templates that will help you quickly access the knowledge that you have been learning along the way of this course. So these templates are from keywords to charts and tables to really break things down in a more digestible and easy to understand way. These are really a game changer. I'll also include worksheets, and these are really powerful. So by completing each of the worksheets, you'll be able to uncover this wisdom of your natal chart. Learning is one thing, but applying the knowledge of your personal chart is the fun part, and that's where you get the results. So think of it as an extended astrology reading, which you get to do for yourself. I also have some extra bonuses that I am adding in that are only available from the 5 days since you registered for this masterclass. So these are the fast action bonuses. The first fast action bonus is the Zodiac Signs, Hows, and Aspects Deep Dive Compendium. So whilst I'll be teaching about this in the course, this really takes a deep dive. It takes you further into the detailed nuances of the signs and houses and the aspects of your chart. So this is perfect for those who want to go beyond the basics and really understand how these elements shape your life. Or you might be stuck on a certain energy, and this will help you deep dive into that even further. Next, I have the How to Read Astrology Charts workshop. This is valued at $125, so you'll gain hands-on experience in reading astrology charts. I'll walk you through the entire process, giving you practical tools and techniques to interpret your own chart with confidence and the charts of the people that you love, your friends and your family as well. And the final fast action bonus is the Aligning with Cosmic Timing guidebook. This is valued at $97, and it's a guidebook that you'll learn how to identify pivotal transits and cycles so that you can align actions in right timing, helping you make empowered decisions and accelerate your growth, taking action when it matters the most. This is really all about how to understand the energy of the moment in time and how that relates with your natal chart. So these fast action bonuses are only available within the first 5 days of registering for this training. They'll expire after 5 days of when you signed up for this masterclass. I also have a VIP upgrade option. This is for the woman who is ready to truly dive deep, expand her horizons, and harness this transformative power of astrology. With VIP upgrade, you'll gain personalized support throughout the course, ensuring you get the most out of your experience. I'll be there to answer all your questions as they arise, provide accountability and guidance to you on your journey so that you can grow and feel empowered. You can embrace this opportunity to elevate your learning and step up to your higher self. So the VIP upgrade includes one-to-one mentorship. It includes 30-minute astrology sessions, mentorship sessions with me. It includes messengers support between the calls for the continued support during the 6-week duration of the course. And it includes accountability that I will hold you to. So these fast action bonuses for the VIP upgrade is if you still get all the fast action bonuses I spoke about, you'll also get $100 discount on the price of the VIP upgrade. And remember, that expires from 5 days from when you registered for this masterclass. What will you gain from completing Starlit? Well, you'll gain a deep understanding of astrology and how you can personally apply it in your life. You'll gain the ability to use astrology as a powerful tool to bridge the gap between where you are and where you want to be, guiding your personal growth and transformation. You'll gain insight into your personal chart, enabling you to recognize cycles and patterns and even the solutions to overcome them. You'll gain the ability to work with your astrological energies, transits, and timelines to create meaningful change in your life. And you'll gain a stronger connection with your true identity and alignment with your higher self, and an expansive grasp on astrological language and its nuances. The investment now is $647. I also have payment plans available, and if you pay in full, you'll receive $50 off. For the VIP upgrade, it's $997 if you pay in full. And if you register within 5 days of receiving this masterclass, you'll get that $100 discount. There's also payment plans available for the VIP upgrade. So that is all I have for you when it comes to Starlit and this masterclass, Unlock the Secrets of Your Big Three. I really want to say thank you for joining me. And if you have any questions, please come and jump into my emails, abby@abbylutus.com. You can find me on social media at Stars by Abby or Instagram, Facebook. Send me a DM. You can also join the Stars by Abby Facebook group where we have a thriving community of astrology lovers all discussing our astrology. But I am so glad and grateful that you tuned into this webinar. Thank you so much for joining me. I have really loved, teaching you and sharing this energy and this beautiful tips and tricks as to how you can use astrology in a more empowering way in your life. So thanks very much for joining me, and I can't wait to see you inside Starlit.